explanations in more or less real life. Have you read it? I mean, do you remember it? Yeah. There's a extremely vivid example of how possible explanations or the significance of how possible explanations in one of the C.P.'s novels. It takes place during the Second World War in England, in the British atomic nuclear research, and they've built a reactor and are prepared for the crucial trial run, and everything is there, and the physicists, the narrator is a brother of a physicist. They are there collecting they're all together in the control room, and they push the button, and absolutely it's maybe I really I like it. It's snow. The experiment is going on, but slowly the scientific leaders of the team, Martin Elliot and Walter Luke, realized that it is failing. The expected reaction is not taking place in the nuclear pile. And then here's the narration. As Martin and Luke looked at each other, no one around there realized what the graph had told them. It had told them that the entire experiment was a total failure, and they were directly responsible for this failure. Luke, made no attempt to start stoicism less than most men. He assumed that he was the war that's it. But even in his wretchedness, his powers were beginning to reassert themselves. It was a frustration to him to feel that those powers deprived, but underneath the misery and self-accusation, his dissolve was taking place. It was just on the edge of being right, he said. Why in God's name didn't I get it quite right? The heavy water is all right. The electronics is all right. The engineering is all right. I hope that the Germans are capable of making bloody fools of themselves like us, or anyone else who gets as far. I tell you that we got as near as kiss your hand. The engineering is right. The heavy water is all right. The uranium is all right. The uranium is all right. No, blasted about it, can't be. That must be it. It must be the uranium. There's something left there stopping the neutrons. Martin, who had been sitting so still that he might not have reacted, Luke's outburst strongly broke in. From the beginning they had known that uranium had to be pure to a degree that made them need a new metallurgy. After all, that still might not be good, pure enough. Was there impurity present in minute quantities, which happened to be have a great stopping power? I heard names strange to me. The one Luke kept coming back. It's gadolinium, though, on the spot of my ear, did not pick it up. That's it, he cried. There might be others, said Martin. No, that's it. I'm not convinced, said Martin. But he was, even that night, Luke's authority and said it again. Later, other scientists said that there's nothing wonderful about Luke's diagnosis. Anyone would have reached given cool head and plenty of time. What some of them did praise, even those who only passed compliments on those he really dared, was his very powerful. It's a nice science, nice narration about how science actually works.
Yes.
Snow was a scientist, author himself, the author. So anyway.
I suppose you would have to call that the real science fiction.
Yes. What is now called science fiction, it's usually non-science fiction.
Yes.
Contra science fiction. So anyway, so the just anyway, so here's one, and that is the notion or explanation, because it turns out that from the two aspects of logic, there are two kinds of explanation, and people have shown that this has not been paid attention to. I've come across very specialized discussion about how possible explanations in history and speculations into this might be a peculiarity of or historical explanation. Nonsense. And so here's something, and that has further consequences. For instance, the idea of inference to the best explanation of what kind that puts the whole thing about inference to best explanation to a new light. So, but perhaps, but the most important is most important is simply the conclusiveness of how possible explanations, because the conclusiveness, the kind of explanation is conclusive only if the basic concepts of your theory don't have conceptual connections that are not spread out in the theory itself, because otherwise it's like constructing proposition, even in propositional logic. Constructing in propositional logic how possible explanation for some complex proposition coming out with the distribution of truth-value atomic propositions. But that's the end of the story only if those atomic propositions themselves are logically independent, which means the basic concepts in them are logically independent. this kind of conceptual completeness is a separate notion, important notion for publications, and it's played an enormous role in history of philosophy, because this was Wittgenstein's problem of independence of atomic propositions and tractatus, the color exclusion problem. There if so that's and what I would like to do here, well, you're welcome to do if you're interested, but I don't think that's possible. I'll show that the Einstein's EPR argument, it turns on the question whether the quantum theory is complete.
It is.
In what sense? In this sense. And this alone would be worth an important paper. So this could be one. It also, there are connections in other directions, and because now I'm returning several steps to the really crucial the starting point, namely the model construction idea. And that it concerns another huge issue in philosophy of logic, namely difference between different evidently and strategic rules, because the strategic rules of logic, if logic is how do you study the strategic rules, or even inductive logic? Well, if you think of this series of inferences, well, yeah, you can study that, the different kinds of, that's what computer scientists have been doing in strategies of theorem proving and so on and so forth. But the obvious and natural thing is to look at it as a model construction. And there I have a extremely interesting general point of view. I don't know whether to call the result or not. And that is in the function logic spelled out. But there you can see literally how constructing deductive proof is to introduce individuals in terms, syntactically speaking terms, to instantiate existence, universal quantifiers, which means introducing individuals into the model. And you can see how you build them up, because the terms are built up. You literally can see how to build up the counter model or eventually model. And you can envisage intuitively the different individuals. So this is to study strategies of reduction. It's difficult to give any general rules, but that's what we do actually practice. We envisage the kind of figure, for instance, in geometry, that the auxiliary constructions give. That's, we envisage that and then see how it, perhaps guess what kind of things we can say about the amplified figure. For instance, in the case of the three angles, of course you can see a little see how the three angles form there on the top of the battery. But you can do similarly in a logical proof. There is the, I worked out somewhere, I didn't show my notes are the one difficulty in here is that realistic example, actual examples are oversimplified and don't bring out the interesting features, and they are so complicated that you don't get all of you. But I worked out at one point last summer for the possible use of in the function logic connection. The example of using, I'm not sure how good it is, but anyway, you have the well, here's the inference. You show you show that something is inconsistent, and this proposition is Bertie loves all and only those people whose love is never reciprocated. Have you come across with this?
I have come across with this example, yeah, but
yeah, yeah. You can argue it in terms of Bertie's yearly, yes, you ask a question, does he love you? Himself, work out. I mean, you can see literally the formulas matching the individuals who are introduced into the terms. So that's how that's where you can see the actual deductive strategies at work. Now I think we should. There is enough sort of basic ideas to start working on this. I don't know, and then this needs, because how possible, the most one important cause of how possible expressions are consistency proofs, and then we are with Hilbert and as a byproduct we can get sort of formal explanation why we have a complete method of disproofs in extended logic and always automatic no, complete, not complete method for consistency proofs. So do you think we are ready to start on this?
I'm reading present now.
Right.
I'm reading Kreiser's papers now.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Slowly I started.
Yeah. Which aspect do you constant? Well, first we would expand and systematize the one in the logical explanations. So maybe that's work enough. And maybe I'll make notes about the other aspects. And maybe even start on the Einstein paper, because that there I'm really itching to do some work, because this does work, and at the same time it illustrates the general situation. Illustrates the general situation so extremely well. Of course, Einstein and others have used different terminology. So maybe that's a good idea to start there, and maybe you can also think for yourself. Maybe you already have a kind of outline for this. I haven't tried to table of contents as you were. I haven't tried to do that because I don't know how you like to work, and what ideas are the ones that tempt you first. So, okay.
Yeah, right now I'm just thinking about the similarities between.
Sorry.
I'm thinking about the similarities between Gantt-Sense proof, no counterexample interpretation, functional interpretation, and I'm trying to figure out an explanation for showing that all these kind of proof theoretical strategies needs an underlying elementary approach to explain things more simpler.
Yes.
And I'm trying to argue that extended life can give such elementary.
Maybe that's the very first. I didn't relate the no counterexample, but maybe. Maybe even before you tackle this, no counterexample. But if you, what about writing? Would this be okay? There are histories of everything else. The history or so, essentially, when I'm schooling theorem and so on and so forth. Why not the history of why not the history of no counterexample interpretation?
Yeah,
just history. Okay.
Yeah.
That's important. That's worth doing. Okay. And when we come across no counterexample interpretation anyway, I make a note and reference, and maybe main ideas, pass it on, maybe even call this. So, and contextual families about the whole business. business about two house logic, two dimensions, two applications of logic. There are even further things. There are even further things, because when it comes to the whole theory of mistakes in logic, there may be mistaken arguments why necessary, the fallacies of usual core fallacies. There can be also mistaken or misguided or otherwise bad how possible explanations. So the fallacies of how possible, the same way there are fallacies of why necessary. That's something we could keep an ear on, tuned to. That might be very interesting. I think the whole business about theories of fallacies, it's a complete mess, completely unsystematic. And
well, that is true to say.
Sorry.
That is true to say the least. I mean, it is totally. I mean, I would go so far as to say so that there is no theory of fallacies.
Well, there are these informal logic boys who are all sorts of things. Not all, most of which I haven't read. So I wouldn't say that there's no theory, but they claim they have a theory. Theories. But yes, it is a mess. For instance, and we talked about the mess of begging a question, fellas.
Supposing that is a fallacy in a sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know that story? Oh, yes. So that's he's even historically